Thanks very much, Rowan. I brought along some toys because when I looked at the delegates list for this conference, you could count the number of farmers in it by about 5, if you're lucky. So I thought I'd make it a little bit more practical and actually show something that's actually used on the farm. This is the automed system, and this is the heart of it. It's an automatic device to medicate an animal. You pull the trigger and it puts whatever the medication is, either injects it or drenches it to the animal. It also reads the ear tag, and that is recorded. I just forgot the important bit. This is all connected by an app on your phone or tablet. That phone or tablet, after you've done your session, it downloads by syncing it into the cloud. And that information on that animal being treated, on what it's been treated with, how much it's been treated with, the date and time, and the tag number can be all downloaded and you can read it or have it in your office, and that office could be anywhere. If you've got a feedlot or a piggery that has sort of 20 sites and you have automed operating, a person at that head office can actually monitor all the animals that have been treated by automed. So it's really a compliance device which helps us all in complying to the regulations that are not only with us now but are going to come to us through because the consumer is going to demand knowing what medication their animals or the meat they're eating has been treated with, and making sure that there's no residue. The attachments with this it's not just one attachment. We have four attachments, and it's a matter of just unclicking them and plugging in the new one. We have 20mm attachments for drenching sheep, backlining sheep with a spray attachment. We also have a nasal attachment for treating rhinogard in pigs and cattle. The 20mm adapter can also be used for pour-on in cattle, backlining. So it's a very versatile product that can be used in multiple ways in the race, the sheep race, the pig pen, or the sheep race, or the pig pen, or the cattle crush. The system works, as you see on the screen there. You have the automed device. Hang on, wrong one. Can I go back? Yep. You have the automed device there. That is connected to the app on the phone or the tablet. That there is your reader on your scales, which you can. That information is sent to the app on your phone or tablet, and that could be your ear tag reader and also the weight of the animal. That is in the app. When you weigh the animal, the app calculates the dose rate that you apply to the animal. So you have weight-based dosing as well. So you don't have overdosing and you don't have underdosing. The dose is calculated according to the weight of the animal. When you've finished your session, you sync that to your web or your cloud, and then your information's on your web portal when you go home, wherever it is. The story of automed. This is a company that started in 2012 by my son David. He had an idea that went back about 5 years before that of this device he wanted to have to medicate animals. Because he'd been working with us at Centre Plus Merinos, and we were doing a lot of cutting edge stuff at the Merino stud, and he felt there was a need for a device that could actually medicate animals far easier than pulling a trigger hard all day. So he came up with the automed. 2012, he had to make a decision because he was working in the mining industry, getting paid quite well, and he was designing shuttle cars and rock breakers and all that sort of stuff. But he always had this in the back of his mind. So when he met with us and another person called Bob McCotter, we put it to him, are you going to follow your dream, or are you just going to put it away and just be a coulda wannabe, you know? And that's the question we put to him. And he said, no, I want to follow my dream. So myself and our family and Bob McCotter became venture capitalists. It's been a pretty tough road. We first, our first commercial release of automed was in 2016, and we got it out into the field. And it was working quite well. And then Australia's not a very big market, as we found out. In 2016, David went over to the World Pork Fair in Iowa because we were getting inquiries from the overseas about automed. And we went to the World Pork Fair at Iowa, which is a huge event. And I think we won the award for, you know, the most innovative product at the pork fair. And we had a lot of large pig producers approaching us to say, look, we'd want this product, can you bring it over? So we established a branch in Ames in Iowa. In 2017, we found that things weren't working as well as they should be over here because we were like the farmer that they say, you know, we pay retail for all the goods we buy, and we sell at wholesale and pay the freight both ways. And that was precisely what was happening to us. All our components for automed were coming in from overseas. Some parts from China, some parts from Europe, some parts from the States. And we had to bring them over here and then assemble them here and then send them back to the States. The freight component was becoming a bit ridiculous, and Australia could not supply any of the component parts we wanted. We don't produce circuit boards in this country. We don't have a decent injection moulding industry that is really competitive on world standards. Our battery technology had to come out of China because it's the same technology that's in your mobile phones. And the motors come out of Switzerland, and they're the same motors that go into robots. So because of that, we decided we had to make a decision to move our assembly to the States because it was, the demand was getting bigger, our main demand was in the States, and we thought, look, we better go to where the demand is. So we moved to the States in 2017, and there's other reasons why we went to the States, because it became a no-brainer. I don't want to knock Australia too much, but fair dinkum, our labour costs over here are ridiculous compared to what it is in America. And when we did the assessment on it, to produce an automed device in America was half that it is in Australia. Americans laugh at you when you tell them that we give our workers 1 month annual leave and then we give them another 17.5% on top of that to go on holidays. They think you're crazy. And we are, because we're making ourselves world uncompetitive. Now, you won't get it back because everybody's got it and you're not going to change it. So I don't know what you're going to change, but if we want to be world competitive, we've got to start right at the labour. The other part with labour is, since we've been employing people in the States, there's two things. In America, you get what you pay for. Over here, you pay for what you get. Or is it the other way around? Doesn't make any difference. What it means is over there, you have more control of what you pay for your labour. If you're going to pay $8 an hour in America, fine, and you get a worker that's worth $8 an hour. If you want to pay $13 to $15 or $18 an hour in America, you get a bloody good worker. And that's the difference we've found. You can sort things out a lot better in America, and you're not restricted by the labour requirements that you have here in Australia. And we've got some very good employees in America. They're dedicated, and the fact is, even though their labour rates sound cheap compared to here, they can buy a lot better. Like a Chevy A Jeep Cherokee is half the price in America than it is here. You go to a restaurant and feed 4 people for $50 in Ames in Iowa. You can't even go to McDonald's and feed 4 people, 4 people for $50 in Australia. So it's all relative. That's the point I'm making. If you're paying less wages, but it's relative to what you can buy with those wages. And America's a lot cheaper in that area. When the other problem we had, and the previous speaker brought it up brilliantly about venture capitalists. We tried to get venture capitalists here in Australia. We got a lot of tyre kickers. All they had was a few bob. They couldn't share the world vision that we had with us being a global company and being able to sell the product all around the world, because we did research on the product, and one of our venture capitalists in America actually did research on it, and they spent a fortune. We reckon they spent about 100 grand doing research on potential of automed on a world basis. And they come up with a huge figure, it was in the billions of dollars. Anyway, we reckon they probably were too high. Our assessment was a lot lower than that. So to sort of talk to Australian investors on that basis, they just shook their head because they just couldn't come up with anything that could actually jump automed into that level of recognition on a world basis. The reason why we reverse merged is because we found out that we couldn't obtain funds in America unless we were an American company. Americans are pretty parochial. They don't like lending to foreign companies, and here we were, an Australian company, Australian family company with another investor, nearly, probably 85% family, 15% other people, and they weren't interested in that. So we had to actually reverse merge, and we had our head offices here in Canberra and our branch offices in Iowa, in Ames in Iowa, mid-states. And we had to, what we did was we flipped the company. The Canberra office became the branch office and the Ames office became our head office. And we became Automed Inc. Okay. Now when we go, I'll move on with that because I can cover a bit of that. When you're selling this product to an ordinary farmer, you have to sell them on the basis of what the value of the product is. And that varies because a high-end farmer will be looking more for in-depth things like proper animal recording. But the things we look at is accurate dosing, improved drug efficiency, weight-based dosing, reduced inventory wastage, and simple economic designs. And ergonomics is one of the main things we found in Australia that works very well. We are a global company, and we had to realise to become a global company, we had to move to the States. Our target markets, and this is where it really opened up. We're in Australia and New Zealand. We haven't even touched New Zealand yet. We're in America, Canada. We're opportunities in South America, and the big one we've opened a branch with about another 6 distributors in the EU, and that's where our biggest potential is outside North America. This is the reason why we went to the States. As I said before, to be an American company makes a difference. And the financing system in America is completely different to here. I've got to go 150k for my nearest bank. They've closed them all around everywhere, so I've got to go to Dubbo Parks. Over there, you find 2 or 3 banks in Ames and Iowa, no worries. Where we are in Huxley, there's a New Story Bank, and we were going to buy this facility, 1,200 square metres, and it was worth, and we're going to rent it. And the bank said, well, look, if we get a guarantee, we could actually sell it, we could actually buy it. And so they financed us to buy that 1.475 million facility on 20 years terms at 3%. You don't get that in Australia. We got a Propel loan from the local area. We've had new employee trading grants. We've got new UK investors. We've got a Ripple loan of another 150,000. The Huxley Council, where we're based now, they granted us another 60,000. And so it goes on. And there's a USDA Red Leg scheme of up to $2 million if we want it. And we've also got other US investors looking at it. The fact is, when you put a proposition in America, when this is David says it's different between Australia and America, when you put a proposition to the people, they will give you an answer with 2 to 4 weeks, because you've got to have a proper business plan, and you've got to meet milestones. And if you don't meet those milestones, you're in trouble next time you want some money if you need some. And that's the stage where we're up today. And so far it's working well, and we've still got a long way to go. And we hope we can continue and develop the product even more on a global basis. Thank you.